Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hey, today we're in a little plot of land about 13 acres in Melbourne, Florida. You can see the Florida East Coast Railroad right here to my right. And behind me, if you see cars going by, that's Sarno Road going east and west. And behind you here would be what is considered the O'Galley River. So if you take those three borders and you kind of go this way, that's the 13 acres we're talking about today. Now we're in Melbourne. Now, before 1969, this was considered O'Galley, and that was the year that they merged and the whole town became known as Melbourne. But before that, in the 1800s, there was a man named John Green. He wanted to call it something different. He wanted to call this little area Sarno. During that time in the 1800s, as I'm scanning the area in which we're talking about, the East Coast Railroad ended at O'Galley. That's where it stopped. So Green wanted to take advantage of that. And he wanted to build a hotel, some cottages, a pool, and not only did he want to do it, he did it. And unfortunately for him, there was a change of events that really didn't allow his plans to materialize when it came to bringing visitors and guests to come visit this property he had, which also included quite a few fruit trees. Well, anyway, no sooner did, hey, look, I got a prop. Actually, it's my coffee. No, actually, it is a prop. Once the construction really was underway and almost done, well, Henry Flagler decided to take his railroad and take it down to Miami. And with the railroad, with the guests, the potential guests, the visitors, and this new town that he was going to call Sarno in this little area of O'Galley, former O'Galley, well, before it became a town or anything, he abandoned it, left it, and it was already a ghost town. Well, after getting rid of the property, a Colonel Fowler came and bought the property a few years later. And in 1906, he renamed it Military Park, and it became the home of the Kentucky Military Institute in 1906. And they used the old hotel, which was called Hotel du Nil, if I pronounced it correctly. That became their barracks, and some of the cottages that Mr. Green had built, those became some schoolhouses, other places maybe for officers to sleep. There was a post office here and whatnot. There was also a pavilion that was really in the center of the property, and it had a flagpole, which I'm assuming that was probably a very popular place in the morning where they probably did a lot of maybe saluting the flag, a lot of routines, ritual type things they do every morning as a military school. That was probably a central part of their morning activity, I would imagine. But the KMI, for short, of Kentucky Military Institute, the cadets, they became quite a big part of the area and the surrounding areas. And in 1919, there was a great fire down on Front Street in Melbourne, a few miles south of here, and they played a big part in actually putting that fire out. Ironically, less than a year later, their winter home burned to the ground, and 1 year later, in 1921, they moved on to Venice, Florida, and they left here. Now again, the winter home, there's really nothing here that's left of it besides, there are two structures actually. One is a swimming pool that was built during the time they were trying to make this the town of Sarno by John Green. And there's a home behind the pool, which I believe was built by Colonel Fowler, because he did add a few cottages when he bought the place before the Institute came here and the cadets. And I believe that was built during his time. So those are two things that we'll try to go take a look at and see if we can get up close to them. Approaching the pool right now. You know, like I said earlier, though the cadets made this their winter home, they seem to have gotten more use out of this pool than anyone else. And take a look at this. You can tell this thing is vintage. Very old. But very cool. But they certainly enjoyed their time here. I'm going to scan up. There's the home I was talking about. From what I understand, it looks very much the same in the front. There has been additions, but very much the same as it looked when it was built here. And I believe Colonel Fowler had this built once he bought the place. Let's scan back down to the pool since it's so. Well, the Kentucky Military Institute opened in 1845, and in 1971 they graduated their last class, and then they closed their doors forever. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts, comments, anything you want to add to the video, or any corrections for those of you historians out there, feel free to post them below, and I'll see you next time.